Hi, and welcome to Screens and Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we are talking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episodes 7 and 8. Renee is back to join me. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello. I am doing great. I'm very excited to talk about these episodes. How are you?
I'm doing good. So good. It's funny because I told you it's been 2 weeks since we last talked about the Daryl Dixon finale, and it was 2 weeks ago. And I feel like it's been so much longer. It's like so much life has happened in those 2 weeks. So I am so glad that you are back to join me in talking about Fear the Walking Dead. We're going to talk more about what we think about the show, but I'm just glad because the whole Walking Dead universe, I love talking about it with you. So I do want to let our listeners know that we are combining episodes. So we're going to talk about episodes 7 and 8. And then in 2 weeks, we'll talk about 9 and 10. And then a week later, we'll talk about the last 2 episodes because they are premiering on the same night, which is November 19th. So that is how these episodes will come out to you all. And we're just excited to talk about anything the Walking Dead universe, right? So let's dig into our question of the day. And the reason I came up with this question is because, one, it's out there in these past 2 episodes. And also because, well, let me tell you what the question of the day is going to be. It is, do you think Alicia is dead? But before I actually pose it to you, I wanted to say that when we had done season 7, I think it was that season 7 when she left.
Yes.
I can't even remember.
She left in the penultimate episode. So the right before Madison came. She left and Madison came the next episode.
Yeah. So when that happened, Margaret had joined me to discuss episodes, and she was adamant. Margaret was adamant she was dead, and I was adamant she could not be dead. I just didn't. I had to see it because for me, you have to see it to believe it because look what has happened just in this season, right? So you just never know until you see the body.
And when she woke up, though, her fever had subsided. So I assumed she was alive.
Is that okay?
That's what that's my take, you know?
Yes, because I felt like she was alive because again, I didn't see her dead. And my friend Margaret was saying, well, no, because all those zombies were there. And then she thought maybe I know what her take was when she came out of that fever. That really wasn't real.
Oh, sure.
That was sort of that
dream
afterlife
state she was in,
or whatever. Yes, exactly. So that was her take on it.
Yeah.
So I've been curious this whole time, and we know that Alicia, the actress, is on to other movies and TV shows, and she's very busy in what she does. But I still think there could be a cameo somewhere or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll show the back of her. Who knows? But I was curious what other people thought. So you think that she's still alive?
So I think she survived. Yeah, definitely survived season 7. You know, I do believe that just because she woke up without the fever, and it didn't seem like that dream sequence to me. I mean, I think that's a brilliant deduction because I didn't even think of that. But I just feel like she was alive at that point. Well, then now that we're in this, we know she survived that because then she meets Troy at some point because he has her arm, right? So
true. Yes, well, that's what he's saying, though.
But he's got her arm.
We don't really even know. But
her arm.
But something could have happened to her arm. She could have lost her arm or whatever.
No, I'm not saying that proves she's dead. I'm saying we know she survived season 7 because she meets Troy later because she didn't meet him right then. She would meet him after. So I'm saying I believe she survived 7 because then she does at some point meet Troy because he has the arm. He could have just taken it from her. I still think she's alive right at this moment. I think, in this episode, I was like, yes, I think he's just doing that to toy with Madison because he feels she deserves it after everything she did to him.
Yeah.
So yes, as this episode, I'm like, I definitely feel that she is still alive and he's just taunting her.
Yes. And I agree with that too. I like that answer because I do really care about Alicia. So yeah, I miss her. I do want to pose this question out to everybody out there, whether they think Alicia is alive and their thoughts on it. So please let us know what you think. You can reach us on Twitter or Instagram, or not Twitter. You can reach us on X and Instagram at Screens in Focus. All of our social media links are on our website at screensinfocus.com. Also, they are in our show notes, and we would love to hear from you. Okay, so normally we talk about the Walking Dead news before we get into the episodes, but I want to bring up Matthew Perry's passing because it just really hit me. I know that it hit you and probably everybody else out there, but we had done a special episode, our 200th episode on Friends, and I had a lot of people join me in talking about the show, what it meant to us. And I love that we did it, even more so now thinking about it, just because we were able to talk about all the special moments, all the special characters and the actors who portrayed them. I just was devastated. I go to bed each night watching Friends, not every single night, but so many nights. It is what I put on to watch as I'm going to sleep. And I just love the humor, the laughter. So I feel like Matthew Perry and all the other actors are a part of me, a part of my history. I watch it back in the day. I watch it now. I love it. And so it's just hard. And it's hard also because we saw him go through so many struggles with addiction and being brave to put that out there. Some people hide it, and I understand why. Who wants to put that information out there about themselves? But the fact that he did, and wanting to help people and wanting that to be his legacy, was helping people through anything, any hardships that they go through. It's just a testament to his character. And then I have seen outpouring of how people feel about him. And he was a great guy to the people that knew him. Yeah. So I love hearing that too. So I had to bring it up because I just thought it was important. Is there anything you want to say, Renee?
I was just going to tell you that my favorite Matthew Perry movie is Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek. And the reason I wanted to bring this up because there are two quotes in there that I absolutely love. So he tells her, "You are everything I never knew I always wanted." And I was like, I could not believe that line the first time. I was just like, this is insane. It's just solid gold. And then another one that she says to him when he makes her mad at one point, I use this often with my husband. "You are not my favorite person right now." And I remember hearing him, I am taking that because that's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, that movie's just, I don't know. It's just, he's Chandler Bingish in that, but that was before that. But you can kind of see some of those character traits kind of carry over. But yeah, I agree with you. It's my comfort show, and it's just been heartbreaking for me. Like, I haven't even been able to turn it on. This week. I
haven't either. It's going to be really hard. I keep seeing it in my feed and social media. And even then it's a little bit hard. And then I don't know, have you seen the picture where they have them all, but his picture is black and white compared to their picture of the color?
I saw one, someone did a screen cap there, and they're at the coffee house, and Monica says something about blah, 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 and it's about Chandler, whatever. And then Rachel looks at her and she goes, "Mon, Chandler's not here." And I was like, and they're like, "This hits," the caption was, "This hits different now." And I was like, no, people don't do this.
Right. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No,
yeah. There's going to be so many times that we watch it now or afterwards, and so many things are just going to hit differently. Unfortunately, it really is. And so I don't know, we just have to celebrate, the laughter he brought and the joy he brought, and for ourselves, realizing that everybody passes and you got to just live and love and, reach out and stay connected to people. I thought about all the Friends cast because they were together for so long, but as I'm seeing in the feed, so many people acted with him on different shows that I didn't necessarily watch, but all these people, I thought, oh shoot, he was in a lot of things. And I just love how many lives he touched. And I just think that that's super special. Oh, and the movie Fools Rush In, I guess Salma had put on a post that he had recently told her that that was the best movie that he had ever done. And she thought that that was so special. She says his best movie is the one that I was with him.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies, so that's saying something. Yeah, that's wonderful. That means so much to her because it was such a cute movie. I watch it frequently because it's just such a fun movie.
I'll have to watch it again. It's been a while, but now it makes me want to watch that movie again. So, oh, wow. So, just such a shock for this whole entertainment world and also personally, you know, to his parents and siblings and stuff. So it's just, it's unfortunate. So anyway, we just wanted to bring up Matthew Perry because we are both big fans of him and Friends and everything else. So, okay. So, I don't know that we have any Walking Dead news, though, right?
I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head. It's been a week already on Wednesday, so But I couldn't think of anything, so we'll pass that.
Okay. Well, the news is Fear the Walking Dead is back, and we're going to talk about it. Okay. So what we are going to do is we're going to talk about episode 7, and then we'll go on to episode 8, just in case people aren't up to date. Now, of course, me and you could intermingle a few things accidentally, but for the most part, we'll try to stay on track because they start to, you know, meld together as we see them. So anyway, okay. In Fear the Walking Dead, season 8, episode 7, entitled Anton, we see that Strand conceals his true identity with a new community, rekindling his connection with Madison and the others. The focus is on second chances as they aim to honor Alicia's beliefs and protect a hidden sanctuary, which is PADRE. And Troy threatens violence to reveal PADRE's location, leading to a dramatic confrontation where he claims responsibility for Alicia's death, causing intense emotional turmoil for Madison and the group. So what was your initial reaction to this episode?
Yeah, Strand, I was surprised at the new life he's built for himself. I mean, you know, pleasantly surprised for him. You know, he's kind of always danced around trying to do good, but then the dark side pulls him in. You know, it just seems like he just always goes back to that. You know, it's just where he's comfortable, or I don't know what it is. But I think Alicia saving him made him be like, okay, she did not need to come back to me. These people did not need to put me on these rafts. I got to do something, you know? So I really liked that for him. And, you know, I love how hard he's trying to become a better person in this, you know? And so I thought that was really cool. And I love Troy as a villain. I always liked Troy as a character. He wasn't really a good guy, but he wasn't like a villain when we saw him in season 3, you know, but I always liked his character, something about him, just how he was. I thought, you know, and Daniel Sharman does it. He's a good actor. He does a good job. So I really liked, I do like him as that, but I do have a question quick in here is how does Troy not know where PADRE is when she called out the coordinates on the radio? I have this huge question for that. And I'm trying to find answers. So anyway, that's just a little thought there. And then I really loved when Strand and Madison were being held by Troy and the whole gang bursts in, you know, and Daniel's guy. So it was just, overall, it was just, there was a lot of different pieces going, you know, but I thought it was a pretty strong start to the last 6 episodes.
Yeah. And Denai had directed this episode,
that's right. Yes.
Correct? Who plays Luciana. Yeah. So that was, I had forgotten. I can't remember why I recalled that after watching it. I said, oh yeah, that's right. She directed this episode. So I thought she did a great job directing this episode. We both had talked about the writing of Fear the Walking Dead lately and recently, and it was not what we were hoping for. Some of the storylines, some of the things they have to say, but I still appreciate this show, even though the writing isn't the greatest, but I'm always rooting for it because it did have some really great seasons and that I really did love a lot. But yeah, so this season has been a little bit tough for me, the first 2 episodes, but I'm just trying to go in it. I will tell you, watching it the second time each episode was better for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Watching it initially, I was like, oh my gosh, why are they saying these words out of their mouth, or how are they putting this together? But I had forgotten it'd been 7 years. I really did. I think just because we've seen all the other spinoffs that we're watching, and then all of a sudden we jump in here, because I thought, how does Strand have this, is it his boyfriend or his husband? I can't even remember. It's his husband. Right. Yeah. His husband and his son. Like, how does he have this already? I thought, oh my gosh, it's been 7 years. How did he learn German?
Yeah.
Like, how did all this stuff happen? And I was really super impressed with this community, everything that they were growing. Like, when they first showed the opening shots, I thought they were in a flashback of the regular world, because I thought they're playing soccer. I mean, that's pretty noisy.
Yeah.
How big is this place? Because you would think that would attract walkers to you, just all the whistling and the noise level and everything else. So I think that they have a really nice community here. And then once they went into the hotel area, it looked gorgeous, and all the food that they had. And so I thought that their setup was really cool. And I'm surprised no one has been by to take it yet. Right. Also, the bus that they were using as their, I guess, from the outside world to the inside world. I mean, we've seen that before, but I'm trying to remember which show and which episode did they use that? Because that's been used before, where they use the bus as a, wasn't
that earlier in Fear? Like when Luciana first, like in that community she was in, when her and Nick were there?
Maybe that's what I can't recall. I just remember seeing it.
I remember a bus, and I know that later on they were using it to escape through the walkers, but I wonder if that was what it was. I'm not for certain though. I just remember that bus towards the end, of that community, they were using it to get in through the walkers, and then they'd go through the bus or something. But
yes. Exactly. So, I do recall it being used before. I just couldn't remember. Was it Fear? I think it might have been Fear. So
that's the only thing I can think of. But
so I'm thinking, okay, they're using the same, usage of a bus here in this episode too, with these new community and characters and such. So anyway, I liked seeing that. I also did enjoy the dynamic between seeing Madison and Strand again together. Yeah. So I was looking forward to it. And so I'm glad that we got to see that again. And of course, I'm curious what Troy is going to bring to this last half of the season. So I'm excited to see it. So let's talk a little bit more. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit here about Strand's deception and reconnection, because he lives in this new community with a husband and son. So what did you think of his new life?
Well, I love it for him. Like I said, I just, he's just always kind of danced around, trying to be good, and it just can't seem to stick. So, I think, things that have happened have changed him. And it's unfortunate for, Frank and Klaus that he's lied to them, but, in his mind, he tells Madison that Victor died, that he, and so I feel like he is, it was a deception, but it wasn't like he was trying to be malicious. He was just trying to start over, and right or wrong, I don't know. But I was, I liked that he's really trying, and I just like Strand. I want him to be good,
Yeah. We had talked about the actor Coleman Domingo a little bit before pressing record here, but how much we appreciate him and what a great actor he is, what a great talent he is. And so I always am excited to see what he's going to bring to Fear the Walking Dead. So I am very impressed that he can reinvent himself different ways. Of course, I didn't like when he was ruthless in the things that he was doing to people. I thought, oh my gosh, what is driving you to this edge of how ruthless you're being, just killing people. And we see in this episode that he has flashbacks of what he used to be. And I think he's trying to push that out of his mind. I think that's why he's like, okay, he's dead. I'm reinventing myself. I have a new name, but because most people would just use their same name, but act a different way. Yeah. But he's like, no, I need this whole new persona. Yeah. I hate that person. I don't want that person. I'm not that person. And, here I'm going to be Anton. And they kept asking him, why do they keep saying you're Strand? And he wouldn't admit it.
Yeah.
He would not admit it. And that was kind of crazy too, because I would be like, okay, you found me out.
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
Yeah. Well, even if memory serves me right here, I believe even when they walked out of the room, he still wouldn't admit it to Madison, who was like, I can see you. I know who you are. And it's like, dude, come on. He's really committed.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And then when they come in and she says, this is not Anton, it is Strand. And I was surprised that she was blowing his cover, because at first I'm thinking, well, this is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you blowing his cover?
I know.
But other people could have told her what he had done,
mm-hmm.
and thought, okay, he's not going to do this to anybody else. Let's, bring this out. But then he threw her under the bus too. So it was like, what are you guys doing? You guys were friends, which we later, we're going to get into a little bit of that too, how we see them change. But I
love that. I did love that when they met again, it wasn't this cliche hugs and kisses thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what
he did hug her.
Well,
he did hug her.
But it wasn't, it wasn't like all sunshine and roses, I guess. It was like, they were both, And I thought it was rude that she didn't take him aside first, find out what's going on. Why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing this? Well, maybe it was for his safety, or there's all kinds of reasons he could have done this. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, don't just out him in front of everybody. This is who he is. So
true.
But I like that wasn't just everybody expected the two of them to come back together and be like, oh my gosh, you're alive, and you know what I mean? It's a big deal, and they've been together for so long and all this. So I like that they didn't just make it that, and they add a little, threw us for a loop there.
Conflict.
Yeah.
I did, but when they did leave and he did hug her, he had those tears coming down of his eyes. So he was so happy to see her. And that's what I sort of would expect too. I, as we talk about these next two episodes, there was a couple of reintroductions of people, and it's mostly like, hey, you're alive. Oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, really? Come on. You haven't seen this person in how long?
Yeah.
So Strand and Madison's hug to me felt very genuine, and how I would expect someone to react to someone that they were very, very close to and had survived a while with. So let's go into, Strand and Madison's relationship and his shift and his loyalty. What did you think about any of that?
Well, I think, first of all, it's probably shocked that, okay, here she's alive, he's thinking all that. And then just his mind's always going. He's always thinking, how do I do this? How do I manage her revealing my, and then how do I tell my new family, and there was just, he had so much going on. And I appreciate that we did get to hear how the raft, like what happened once they put him on that raft and stuff. I loved that when they were together, stuck or trapped in that little area or whatever it was, store or whatever it was, and how we got to hear his story, how they got on the rafts, and then they go, and we all know Morgan is the one who told PADRE where they were, and then everybody kind of scattered. And then I wanted to bring up this topic because I did some research and found some things out. So when he's talking, he tells her that some of the people got captured by PADRE. They went with them. The others, some were able to escape. He talks about how these people couldn't trust him because of all the things he did at the tower. Just all that. He tried to help them find food. He was trying to do all this in appreciation for them allowing him on the rafts, because like he said to Alicia, they're never letting me on these rafts. They're not going to do it. Yeah. Because he was horrible at the tower, I mean, he's done a lot of bad things. So they didn't need to let him be on the raft, and all that. And he knows that, so he was trying to make amends for that, or, show appreciation that, hey, you guys did this for me. I'm going to help you find food. I'm going to help you find, somewhere to be, but they wouldn't do it. And so he left. But when he returned, they were all dead. And he said, like these guys, the walkers that were coming at them. So doing some research and seeing some tweets and different things, or whatever we call tweets now, there is this is totally speculation on my part. I don't have any kind of AMC confirmation, But the people that died could very well be these major characters, and this will be their deaths are going to be off screen. We're not going to see. So there are 3 significant characters and 3 other ones. So it would be Sarah and Wendell and Jacob, Josiah, Sabrina, and Maya. And I wrote an article that said, did Fear the Walking Dead kill several longtime characters off screen on Undead Walking? You can find it there. And I go into why I believe this and everything. And I just want to say, if that's how they do this, for especially Sarah, Wendell, and Jacob, who have been there since seasons 4 and 5, it just breaks my heart for these actors who have poured a lot. They've made these characters, and they're very popular characters. I mean, I don't know about Jacob as much, but Sarah and Wendell, everybody loves Sarah and Wendell. And this is the send off you're going to give them. And again, maybe not, but right at this point, I double checked. I went back and double checked the raft scene to see who was all there. And so, Josiah, Demetrius Gross, he played Josiah and Emil, the twins, and he was there. He actually was helping carry Alicia out when they were carrying her. And then Sabrina was, she was with Teddy, then she was with Arno. And then when that all happened, then she went with Morgan's group. And Maya was the woman towards where Dwight and Sherry found her, and she was looking for her son. So she went to the tower. So, I mean, the last 3 aren't as significant, but Sarah, Wendell, and Jacob.
Wow. I hope that isn't true. That would be, so I totally missed that when Strand talked about it. I just thought he was talking about people. Yeah. And I thought, okay, he's just talking about people he was around. I did not even think that he meant them. And I kept thinking, okay, hopefully we'll get to see them. Yeah. Because I want to see where all these people are, because we hadn't seen Strand in all this time, right? And Luciana too. We hadn't seen them. So I'm thinking, they're going to show gradually now. Yeah, gradually.
And the reason that I put weight in this is because Mo Collins, who plays Sarah, there was a little bit of a Twitter interaction with somebody where she said, well, I haven't been on this series since season 7. And then someone kind of mentioned this, something, they said a line about everybody starving. And she just kind of responded back like, oh, we survived the apocalypse, but not, and then we end up starving or something like that. So that's what made me really start diving into it a little more deeply and listening to it again. Like, wait a minute. And there were a lot of people on the rafts. So maybe he is talking about other random ones.
Let's hope so.
So we'll see. But if not, that is just a terrible disservice to these actors.
It is. So I
just wanted to bring it up and, hopefully I'm wrong. I don't like to be wrong, but this time I want to be wrong.
Yeah. Wow.
So anyway.
Yeah, that would be.
That was my soapbox. Thank you.
Well, that was because that was the moment between them and you picked up on what they said. And because it was a good moment between them.
And I'm glad that, I like it when they do these little things like this and, don't just, here's Strand, he's back. Well, what happened? How did he get I'm glad that we kind of learned about his journey on the raft and what happened after that, why he wasn't a PADRE, and so that there were more than just him that escaped.
Okay, I do want to add one more thought to what you're saying before we move on to Madison and Strand. But I want to say that if that is true and they are no longer on the series and they did die, I would hope that they would have at least a better send off in even their characters, right? In talking about their characters, like this is what, and naming them, this is what they did for me and how, instrumental it was for me to live and to move on, something, or to help me change or whatever it might be. So I'm still gonna, come on, writers. We need to hold out hope and hope that you incorporate that somehow, even if it is not with the actors, even though, it would be great to have the actors come back on in some manner. Let's hope that Mo Collins was just hiding her, re-entry into Fear the Walking Dead. I don't know. We'll wait to see what happens there. But here between Strand and Madison, there was, again, like I said, I love their dynamic. We saw betrayal and trust because at first, they were kind of betraying each other, but then they have to learn to trust one another and help one another and, defending one another and all of that. So I do like seeing that because they do have that connection and they do, hold on to one another, and they do, it is where we see Strand's evolution of who he is and pieces that he is who he is. There is some things that are innate in you and you're not going to let go of him. And he's always been kind of this con man and looking out for himself. We didn't talk about, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here, but we didn't talk about his family. What did you think of Frank and
Klaus?
Klaus.
I thought they were really neat. That Klaus, I did question why he sided up to Madison so quickly. I thought that was a little bit odd. Usually younger people are a little more like, kind of, whatever. I don't know. It was just, I thought he really connected with her awfully quickly. But maybe,
well, Frank said because that motherly thing, he said.
So it could be that. But I thought they were interesting. And the whole, like you said, the whole community was just interesting how they came to be where they are, and they kind of, okay, this is where we live now. We can't go anywhere else, so we're going to make our community. So I thought they were great, and I can see where they were very good influences on Strand trying to become this person because he needs a gentling influence.
He does, and they are good people, and that's what I really appreciate about them and the kid. And maybe Madison saw that because I think she does tell him, I see who they are and you're doing a good job. So she was kind of, giving him a little bit of a pat on the back for that. And then of course he talks about what Alicia said she loved me. Yeah. And that is what made him realize that he could be a better person. So I loved that they talked about that and it sort of reunited their relationship. And I think that's when he is like, okay, this is Madison. This is my friend. This is Alicia's mom. And so,
and as a mom,
I think it was
as a mom who lost her, never saw her daughter again, it's got to mean a lot to know that despite everything she's been through, Alicia was, when Strand last saw her, she was still being a good person and helping him and and so that has to be a good thing for a mom to hear,
Exactly, because in this world, people
it's hard to
change all the time. People have to do bad things, ruthless things. And I think that's why we see a lot of the same themes throughout all of the Walking Dead universe, because a lot of people do things that they wouldn't normally do, but they have to survive. And some people go to extremes and people do things that aren't that forgivable. And, some people do deserve redemption, which we're going to talk about as we get into the next episode in just a little bit here. But, so once they are here trying to survive, we do see also Troy is introduced and Troy is back alive again. Of course, this is not a surprise to any of us because we've seen all the trailers, we've heard all the things. And so here Troy is back. He did not die in season 3. 3. Yeah. Like we thought he had. And so what did you think about Troy re-emerging and his role?
Initially, I was very vocal about how this is totally absurd. I was like, because this has been ongoing. Like I've written several articles where something happens and then all of a sudden all the Daniel Sharma fans are like, he's coming back to Fear. I mean, this has happened several times so we're talking however many seasons. Like it'll just be some little thing, or they'll see a clip of somebody in the Fear trailer. That's Troy, he's back. Like they've always wanted this, and that's one thing Fear is good about doing. Like with Madison, the fans wanted her back. All right, we'll figure out a way to resurrect her. So I think they just thought
we didn't see her dead.
Yeah, right. Well,
I do want to say, I never thought she was dead back then. I just didn't believe it. Even back then, I thought she could be alive.
I think most people thought that, but it was like, will they ever bring her back? It was more the question, but the fans rallied and they did influence that, I mean, the creators have said that the fans, they listened to the fans and brought her back. But Troy, like I said, several times this has happened since he's been gone. And so it was always like the dude was bashed in the head, whatever, so. And again, like you said, it wasn't a surprise because they had the clip on AMC.com. It was his scene and all this. But I first of all thought, I was like, well, it's no surprise that he's bitter and, mad about how she left him when he wasn't dead. I mean, she had no idea he wasn't dead. No one did. He looked dead, she bashed him pretty hard. So, we can understand his bitterness about all this and everything. I was shocked. Well, we saw the bag, at the end of the mid-season, we saw that bag and that person putting her arm in there, but it was still kind of like, oh gosh, he really does have her arm, have Alicia's arm, so that was, still kind of shocking, even though we kind of saw it ahead of time, but, it's like, oh crap, he just gave it to her mom, So I like him as a villain. I really do. And I think, I had said on Twitter or online somewhere and said that, as absurd as an idea of bringing him back, I thought it was, I'm liking it so far, because I think it's an added element that they need. They needed a villain for the end, so why not bring someone familiar?
Yeah. When you said about that scene about putting, the arm in a bag and all of that, I had forgotten about that we had speculated on who the person would be. We were trying to figure out their hands were smaller, not large. And so we're like, ooh, who could it be?
Yeah,
so
that was fun. I was comparing pictures when people said it was Troy. I was like, and I saw the hands. I'm like, that could be Troy.
That's so much fun. Yeah. So the fact they resurrected him, I was like, oh gosh, this is so far-fetched. But again, if you don't see the body, anybody can come back.
It's gone until they're gone.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Now, I remember Troy being a kind of a bad guy. I don't remember him just being sort of a bad guy. Wasn't he trying to kill his brother and trying to get one over on Nick?
Well, but then him and Nick kind of made up, like towards the end of everything, him and Nick kind of, because he said he feels like Nick was a brother to him.
Yes,
so they did
he does say that, yeah.
I don't think they were, they did kind of seem to start making some kind of, progress there with a friendship or something. But then his just psychotic tendencies just took over, and he just, brought the horde to the Broke Jaw Ranch and killed everybody. Yeah. Which is what he's blaming Madison for now. It's like, wait a minute, you did all this.
Well, wait a minute. That's what I kept thinking. I'm like, why is he blaming her? She was defending what they had, their living area, whatever it was, because his father was the bad guy and he was supporting that. That's what I recall anyway.
And that was all true. Troy, he brought the horde to the ranch and all that he was responsible for all of that. So it just kills me when that's like, you did this. I'm like, why is it Madison saying, what the heck are you talking about, buddy? I guess he hammered at Strand's head. So she was a little nervous.
So there is that point where Troy has them on the ground and he has that gun pointed at Strand because he wants to learn of where PADRE's at, because that's the whole thing. I want to take my people to PADRE. I want to have a safe community, and you need to tell us where it's at. Because that's the whole thing that he wants, because he says, you took from me my land, my people, whatever he says. And now he wants to do the same to her. He wants to give it to her and take the place. And so he has gunpoint at Strand. And when Strand was talking and saying that he was Strand and finally admitting who he was to Frank and Klaus, sorry. But when he says that, for a second, I thought, oh my God, is Strand going to die? Because you don't know. You don't know. And I thought, oh my God, is this how Strand is going out? So then I got scared for a minute. I'm like, no, please don't kill Strand. I'm glad they didn't, because that's like when you had mentioned earlier, when the troops come in, Daniel and June and Sherry come in with all kinds of people. So to save the day for now. So that was nice to see. And then of course, Troy claims that he killed Alicia. Here's her arm. And then, Madison is left in a disbelief with, did this happen? What's happening? So it kind of ended on a funny note, I thought.
Yeah, it was like an odd spot to end, I thought so.
I thought so too. Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts on this episode?
I'm still wondering why he can't find PADRE when she called out the coordinates on the radio. I don't, like, I've been trying to research it to see if I'm, sometimes you just miss a little thing. Someone says, oh, it was a meeting point, not PADRE. But in the thing, everyone, she was reading the coordinates to PADRE's location. So
she reading it too. I don't recall
on the radio when he's filling that bag.
Yeah.
When he's putting everything in that bag, you see the map, you see all this. He's like, this is Madison Clark. I'm doing this, and PADRE has fallen, and blah, blah, blah. Here are the coordinates, blah. And he wrote them down. And so I don't understand what happened in the meantime. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, because he actually heard the coordinates at that time.
This is Madison Clark. And he's like,
well, that's so weird that was just a few episodes ago.
It's
not like it was a year ago.
It was the mid-season finale. Yes. And this shouldn't be, we don't know the time frame, but it shouldn't be that long because they haven't done anything with PADRE. They're still trying to build it. They're still trying to do these things. So that, there hasn't been much time between those two episodes. And I don't understand. No, I haven't seen anyone else question this. So maybe I just need to put it on Twitter and find out what's going on or what other people. And like I said, maybe I missed a little thing, because once in a while I get these things in my head. I'm like, what in the world? And someone like, oh, don't you remember they did this? Nope, I did not remember that. Thank you. There's where it is. So I could have just missed something. So I'm going to be researching that and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
But yes, overall, I thought it was a decent episode. I'm really happy for, Strand. We'll see what happens. He still has, episodes to go to make a mess of everything. I don't know. And like I said, I enjoyed seeing Troy again in his villain role. So yeah.
Yeah. So the two things that I want to bring up are the things that bother me. Mm-hmm. And one is Madison and this oxygen. Mm-hmm. I don't even like that whole idea storyline. And I know that they did it because she was in a fire and they're trying to say she had,
whatever
repercussions of what that happened. But I hate it. I hate that she has to get this oxygen. One, where they keep getting it, I don't know, is one. But two, it just interferes with her having to fight people, because she has to fight walkers, she has to fight people, and then she's always out of breath. I don't like it. It's too stumbly.
It's inconsistent, because we won't see the oxygen tank, then all of a sudden she has to have it. Like if it's this chronic, then she's going to be reliant on that more. You know what I mean? Which I understand. Yeah, what you're saying. I don't really like that whole storyline there, but it's like, it's not consistent. And that's the part that bothers me, because we didn't see her use it for a while. Then all of a sudden, she has to have it again. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I agree.
Yeah.
That's just odd.
It just interferes with her having to fight people, things. I don't know. So I don't know. We'll see, but she has to have it now. So we'll see. And also, which we kind of already talked about, but how many people need to tell Frank and Klaus that this is Victor Strand? It's like Madison says it, Daniel says it, Troy says it. It's like, come on, it is Victor Strand. Come on. That's who he is.
Yeah,
just call him out on it. And Frank seems so surprised when Victor says, I'm Victor. It's like, oh, you are? I'm like,
I think that goes back to the fact that they're such good people. They can't believe someone would do this, because they would never do that. So this may, how long have we been together for? It's been a 7-year jump, but how long have they been together? And quite a while, I think, and yeah, I agree, because I thought that too. And like, okay, how many times are we going to say this?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, finally you understand now that it's coming out of his mouth. All right. So let's segue into episode 8, which is Iron Tiger. We see Madison, Strand, and Daniel locate Luciana, who has been covertly aiding others by supplying fuel and support for the past 7 years. Still, I can't believe it's been 7 years. And amidst this, Madison discovers the truth about Charlie's involvement in Nick's death. Feeling responsible, Charlie willingly agrees to infiltrate Troy's group, hoping to make amends. However, her mission results in a tragic sacrifice that deeply affects the group, leaving Madison feeling defeated. So what was a highlight or something that stood out to you in this episode?
Well, I was really glad that we got to, I didn't know how Charlie, we all assumed she would have died she looked pretty rough when we last saw her in season 7. So, and Daniel made a comment, he said, in the first part, he said, I wasn't there for Charlie and Luciana, making it like, oh shoot, did they both die? That's kind of how, but that was
right.
it, he didn't say anything else. So, I thought, well, they probably wouldn't do Luciana like that because she was, a major character, and Charlie really kind of has been too. But I could see that, maybe being all that we would know that Charlie, So seeing her was a surprise, and I enjoyed that, and I'm glad. I always wanted to see that confrontation between her and Madison because I figured how it would go about, kind of thing, not the end result, but I figured that Madison was going to be upset. I mean, they brought this girl in. Nick and her brought her into the Diamond. They brought her in to let her live with them. She betrays them. There was just all this stuff, and it's like, then you killed my son. Her reaction was completely valid. But I was very. I like how Alexa that plays Charlie. She seemed to mature so much. Yeah, it's been all these years, all this has happened in these years and things, but she herself, the actress hasn't grown. She hasn't.
Yeah.
But I thought she played this, when we see her again, she played it so maturely and everything. She did such a good job.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. So I loved seeing Charlie in that little bit of a storyline. And I always wondered, I even wrote it in an article, it was like, would PADRE take Charlie in because she's still technically a kid? So I was like, oh, I was partly right with that, and stuff. So yeah, so I like that. And then I loved at the end of towards the end of the episode when both Luciana and Daniel call Madison out, which we can talk more about later. But I was like, she deserved everything they said. And now all the Madison lovers are going to, cancel me.
No, I have such mixed feelings about her, which we'll get into. I think for me was seeing all the reunions and the revelations. Those were really the highlights because this is what I've been waiting for. I want to see everybody meeting up with each other and their reactions. I don't know. It's just important to me. And so I think with Madison seeing Charlie and discovering all of that was huge. And also, Luciana seeing Madison. I mean, she thought she was dead. And also seeing Strand because, they all don't know that each other have been alive all this time. And also with Daniel seeing Luciana and Charlie thinking that they had passed too. So there was just all these moments of everybody discovering that their friends or family are still alive. So that is what stood out to me. That was what I was excited to see and how it was going to pan out. So that's what I appreciated. So there were so many themes in this episode. There was redemption and sacrifice. We saw guilt and responsibility and legacy and honor. So did you see those or anything else throughout this episode?
Yeah, it's like with Madison, and she's really struggling with her ability to be redeemable. She's abducted these children for how long for PADRE? She's trying to make amends for that, but then she throws Charlie to the wolves. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand she's upset about Nick. Understandable. That's, your son, this girl killed him, but putting this little girl to go do that job, I just, it just makes it very difficult to be like, you deserve redemption because now you're doing, you vowed to help kids. You vowed to get them back to their parents. And then you're going to throw Charlie. Like, she's still a kid. You know what I mean? Regardless of, she's a young adult, whatever. To Madison, and she's a kid. And so she, like, on one hand says, okay, I'm going to help all the kids, but then does that to Charlie, and it's just really, really hard. And then, like, Charlie, she's trying so hard to tell. I know she said it several times about how sorry she is about killing Nick. She was 11. She had, like she said, these adults were manipulating her all over the place.
Yeah. I like that. She said that.
I was so glad she said that because she's like, you guys, I was 11 and these people were doing this to me. But she, I just want to say, how many times does she have to say that she's truly sorry? I just wanted someone to hug her and say, we know you're very sorry. Like I feel like she needed to hear that,
Yeah.
But I just feel like she, her sacrifice, like, it was unnecessary, like it's frustrating because she shouldn't have been put in that position, and then she felt like that was how she had to honor Alicia and Nick by killing herself. And that, it was just, oh man, it was just gut wrenching, and I know Charlie isn't always a popular character with people because she's done a lot of things, but man, the actress is outstanding, and bravo to her for taking on that role because, she got a lot of hate for, this character she played.
Yeah.
So that was tough. And then, I just love Luciana and Daniel's relationship. They are just, to learn that she is the reason he thought he got thrown in the swamp because I'm just an old man, can't do anything. That made me so happy for him because, we didn't know what was going on with him for a while there, with his mental, was he, Alzheimer's, or I don't know what was going on.
And she had lied to him about his daughter.
There's a lot of stuff going on there, but I love their relationship. So I love that she, on this side, she, stood up for him and got him out of the PADRE. And then now he's standing by her side and he's going to make sure she doesn't end up like Charlie and Ophelia. He is, and so I just love that. I loved how they put that together. And then, how everyone is, Nick and Alicia have gotten to the foreground again because of Madison's return and trying to learn about what happened to her children. So I just love that everyone's honoring the things that they think they would have wanted, or like in Alicia's case, she had said, "I want that PADRE to be this," and that. So I just love that honoring part. Yeah. So there's just all these themes, and there's so many neat little pieces to those.
Yeah, there is. So with redemption and sacrifice, yes, there's complexity to forgiveness within Madison, and we see her go through it throughout the episode. So, and I'm glad it was a little bit quick when she finally figured it out, but at the same time, she did have to go through it. And I'm going to say, and also we saw second chances, right? So with forgiveness and redemption. So before we were talking, you and I were talking about Madison. So I want to bring her up a little bit because she was probably not my favorite character. I don't know that she still is my favorite character, but at the same time, I think she's important to Fear the Walking Dead. I think her character is very important because she was never super likable. When she first entered, she always had this edge because she was about protecting herself and her kids, and that's all. There was nobody else. It's like, my kids come first, and that's who I'm going to protect, and everybody else kind of stand back because this is who I'm going to do. And so you're like, well, but what about everybody else? And don't you have feelings? And then, of course, there are certain people that she was, Strand was her friend, so she did protect him too. But I also think that, I don't know, there's something real about her character. And I think sometimes maybe we don't want to face certain things because sometimes I wonder, how would I act with my kids? I actually think I do have a kind heart and would not want to hurt anybody else. But then I don't know, my kids, right? Are you going to hurt my kids? Because I don't know, Mama Bear is going to step out and protect them above everything else. So it's hard. It's a hard line. It's a hard thing to balance, right? When you're trying to protect the people that you love most, but also protect other people. So it's different because we see Rick's willing to protect a lot of people. Yes, he's going to protect his people, but he also steps out and, even when his family, when Lori and when Carl would say, don't leave, but he's all, no, I've got to help these others. And of course that made us all love Rick because you're like, you're not only protecting your family, you're protecting other people. And I think that's what makes him such a hero in my eyes anyway. But that's not so much Madison. That's not Madison at all. It's like, I'm going to protect this small group. But I also do appreciate what she is trying to do, because she's always trying. Like, she realizes she does something wrong, and then she's got to figure out how to atone for her own wrongdoings, just like Charlie is trying to atone for her wrongdoings, because Charlie did a terrible thing. And I understand why. Not against the actress at all. So, gosh, people, please relax, right? Don't go after these actors. They are doing what they are supposed to be doing. But as far as the character, yes, I know she was 11, and she didn't really know what she was doing at 11, but at the same time, she still did it. So I understand how it affected Madison, because this is her son, the person that she loves so hard. And that's how it started with her and Nick. And I do want to bring up too, we were talking about favorite characters, and I wondered my favorite character now, because originally my favorite character was probably Nick, and it was also, oh my God, I forgot his name. What was Madison's husband's name? Started with a Travis. I knew it was a T. Yeah, I really liked Travis, and then Travis was gone. I really liked Nick for a long time, and then Nick was gone. And then I grew to appreciate Alicia more. And then I really loved her. And then I loved John Dorian. I think he was one of my favorite characters ever. But then, like, no, he's gone too. So it's like all my favorite characters are gone. So now you have all these people that are very complex, because, Morgan is gone too. Not dead gone, but he's like gone from the series. So I don't know who my favorite character is, Luciana is a very great character, but she's not, to me, one of the main characters, even though I do appreciate her. And then Daniel has done some terrible things too. So, you have all these people that have to make certain choices. So we see a lot of second chances with all these characters, and also people trying to redeem themselves and being selfless. Charlie was very selfless in what she did. And I did not, as much as I didn't like what she did, and I kind of understood Madison's point, even though I don't think she should have sent her. I thought that was very spiteful, but I didn't want Charlie to do that. And I didn't like it. When she did it, I'm like, what? They actually made her do this? Writers, please. Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't what I wanted for her. I mean, if you're going to sacrifice yourself, I'd rather you sacrifice yourself in defending people against walkers, or maybe setting off a thing with somebody, the bad guys in it, right? And you're doing it too. But the way she did it, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I wish that hadn't happened to her. But we also see that Luciana had sacrificed at the time, for Daniel, to keep Daniel safe. But it ended up working to her advantage. And she is the one who figured out how to use her strengths and her abilities to help other people. So I love that she is continuing with what she was doing. And I didn't get this until the second time watching, that she was building all of these, I think 23 of them, I believe, all across to Arizona, all these outposts that she has. So I just think that that's kind of great. And I'm hoping that will play in some future Walking Dead universe area, or maybe it'll help tie in the ending. So
did you notice that she took, I think wasn't it Clayton that told, he was the one who set out the boxes originally. She met him.
Yeah.
She used his call name. So she was Polar Bear, which was what so I thought that was a nice throwback to him, because that's where she, got the idea to do those, the boxes and things like that. And I thought it was very smart of her to, okay, PADRE, I'm going to make your fuel for you because I learned how to do this. Then she is pilfering, I'm going to use some of this for good over here too. So she's, I love, she's just so smart, to do all those
things. Is.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah.
Well, she was the leader of her, it felt like she was the leader of her community way back when.
Yeah.
When Nick first met her, she was very smart.
Yeah, she was.
And
with
very resourceful.
Oh, yeah. She's always been that way. So, So it's good to see her sticking to her guns and sticking to her beliefs and doing those things, And
I do love that about her. So she is a good character. I'm glad we finally got to see her again. Took long enough. There are so many themes that like we had talked about, that played throughout this. And so it was good to see those. And again, with legacy and honor, we do see Madison still trying to honor her children's legacy, of course, by building something meaningful. And I think it reminds me back when she was about to, like, my kids are gone. What do I need to be alive for? But it was Morgan who pulled her out of that. And told her, what her kids had done. And so then, she decided to go on. And then now she, of course, is trying to do better. So again, second chances. And also Daniel's relationship with Luciana and Charlie, like you had mentioned. I love that too. I love that he cared for these family daughters roles. And so it was hard, him losing Charlie too.
It wouldn't surprise me if Daniel ends up killing Troy, because he was so upset.
Oh my God. He was so mad. Yeah. And the ending, you had talked, and you may want to speak a little more to this about Daniel and Luciana telling Madison what she did. I do want to say, I did feel a little bit sorry for Madison. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I did. Because yes, she did this, but it was still Charlie's decision, and she didn't want Charlie to do it. She's all, no, Charlie, you don't have to do this. You don't. So she didn't want her to do that. So it wasn't her intention for Charlie to die at all. I know. I mean, like, go ahead.
When by the time she told her she didn't have to do it, Troy was already had her.
Well, he didn't. Well, first she told her come back, and she says, I can't. Okay. She said, no, you can come back. And she's all, no, I really can't come back. He has me. And then when they think something's up, she's telling her, she's basically, so to me, Madison didn't want any harm to come to her when she came to her senses. She was still going through her grief. Mind you, she just realized her son was killed. So she had an automatic reaction. So, I don't think she's the most likable person. She's not my most favorite character, but I don't know why. Maybe
it's probably the mother in you feeling her, because she, and that is a very valid point, because she is like, she's been doing all this, and the time span of that first part of the season, where she just found out, or I guess that was the time jump then. So I was just talking about her grief, trying to mourn her children and things like that. Yeah. So that's probably why you just
grief never goes away. Grief never goes away. Yeah. And then when you first learn of how or what, it just comes back.
Because I don't know what they, in the meantime, what they had told her about Nick, obviously, I mean, they didn't tell her Charlie, so
she's mad at herself. She is so mad at herself because she brought Charlie in. So I think her lashing out is at Charlie, but it's also at herself, because Madison feels very responsible. You do as a parent for your kids, right? So it's like, God, I did this one. I brought you in, that pisses me off, and then you go and
you're the one
kill my son. Jeez, that is just a horrible thing. So she's hating herself too, but she's just taking it out on Charlie at that moment when she says, okay, go do this and go kill him for me. You tricked us. I'm sure you can trick him too. So maybe she didn't expect her to do it. I don't know. But at that very end point, we do see Troy talking about Tracy and just bringing up a lot of things that even more Madison doesn't understand. She's all, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Was this about your father? And he's all, no, it's not about my father. And so all this information comes out of his mouth that she is surprised to hear. But then, of course, he's off looking for a kid. And I found it interesting. She's all, when she goes to help Troy, and she goes, I'm not going to have another child on my back, so I'm going to help you, which was interesting. I was like, now you're going to help him. As they go searching for whoever it is he is searching for and why. So, but then she does feel defeated. And that is when Daniel tells her off and Luciana tells her off. And then Strand tries to convince her it's not her doing. And because of course he understands her, because he thinks the way she thinks. So they are two peas in a pod in a way. And, but she's like just feeling just so defeated and walks off. Did you have any other thoughts or what you're hoping to see in the next few episodes?
Well, I don't know who Tracy's mom is. That's for sure. I want to get to the bottom of that because nothing he said makes sense. Nothing he made, he's telling Madison that she killed her mom, that she did this, but this girl is the one who saved, or the woman is who saved him at the dam. I'm like, who is this person? And
well, I'm trying to remember who was at the dam, right? So we'd have to go back and look at those episodes.
The Proctors were there. And then the group that, I can't remember the names, but there was the group at the dam that were originally at the dam that manned it or did whatever. But but when they asked, I read an interview with the showrunners and they asked them, they're like, oh, we're going to ask this question. No, they're not getting an answer. But they said, so is the mom somebody we know? They said, maybe not. That was that's like something a lot.
Great. So, thank you.
But of course, everyone's brains are reeling to try to figure out, people are like, oh, it's Alicia's child. And they're thinking this and they're thinking that. And so it's, so I want to know who the mom is. That's my one thing. But there's just a lot of, it's like we only have a couple episodes left. So how, there's just a lot of questions,
Exactly. There are a lot of questions. I don't know either. I want to know I want to see Tracy too. I want to see who Tracy is. I'm assuming she's this little girl who's whatever age she is. I don't even know.
She was in one of the trailers or something. There was a little girl. And
yes, I do. But I haven't seen her. I think I saw a picture or something. So and who's the mom? And I want to know why people just don't kill Troy. It's like, you had all these chances, just kill him if you really wanted to kill him.
Why did Daniel? Daniel was, he said,
exactly.
Because he said, Daniel, I thought, again, go back to the writing. Daniel says, the next time I'll make sure you're dead or whatever, but doesn't do it. I'm like, so then why do you say it? Why are we, if you're not going to just do it? That didn't make sense. So.
Yeah. And Madison had a chance to do it. Like when she went to go find us, you could have just killed him. You would have been able to protect PADRE if that really is your ultimate goal. But of course, this is a story.
Yeah.
And if they kill him, then they're not going to have the villain. So, okay, whatever. But I don't know. I just feel like it could have been written just a little bit better. Not that I'm a writer. And I give so much credit to people when people don't like TV shows or movies. I'm like, but people put their heart and soul into this. They wrote this, they acted in it, they directed it, they put their money in it, they did. So I try to give a lot of credit, but, and I am giving credit and I'm still watching Fear the Walking Dead. I'm still a fan. I still want them to do well, but I just wish it was written just a little bit better. I wish the writers could just step back and really watch the episode and see what we see that is just lacking in continuity and plot holes and everything else. And so
to go back to Troy killing him off, I'm glad they didn't kill him off right away though, because that's kind of been their MO here. This, let's introduce a character, by the end they're dead. I hate that because we've seen so many characters who had so much potential, and here we go. There's this person, they're going to serve a purpose in this episode and now they're dead. So,
Well, but the thing is, I feel though the way they've written it, they've given people opportunity to kill him. So how they should have written it is where they don't have the opportunity, where Troy's always has the upper hand on them and they get away somehow, right? Yeah. But not that
missed opportunity
and shoot him. Yeah, don't give our group these missed opportunities because it makes it look like they can't handle it or make the right decision. So that is what I mean by that. It's not that he has to be dead. It's just that you've given him these opportunities that they haven't taken. So, we see at the very end a lot of division between the group. And also, I think, PADRE, what it represents to everybody, but it represents the safety and the sanctuary that everybody wants. Everybody wants to get to a safe place where you can live without these zombies. Oh, do you know what I wanted to say? One thing I wanted to say in the zombies in both these two episodes, I kept waiting for the zombie to do something. I think I'm used to Daryl Dixon and not so much be a
Yes.
super zombie, but at least be a variant of some sort. And the fact that they haven't utilized that, I'm like, I feel like you're missing an opportunity here, because I've been waiting for somebody to do something and they haven't. So I kind of wish they had done something a little bit more with the zombies here. All right. So let's get to, and the award goes to, in both of these episodes, any moment, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
I'm going back to Daniel when he tells Madison there is something fundamentally wrong with you. I laughed, kind of out loud when he said it, but I was like, he was angry. He's sitting there in the back of that pickup truck with poor Charlie's body. She's right there under the tarp, and he has to sit there that whole time. And I just know what he was going through, because those, Ophelia, Charlie, Luciana, they've always been, he treats them all like, daughters, or all, even though, some of them are not, but, it's just one of those things where I did for a second have a little bit of feel sorry for Madison, and then I got ticked off again about the Charlie thing. So I just forget it. It's gone. That was fleeting. But I'm sure that there'll be a point when Daniel, Luciana, and Madison can come back together before the end. I'm sure that that'll happen. But at this moment, she needed to hear those things. She needed to understand what Daniel was feeling. I mean, they've been together since the beginning. And, I think those types of friendships and relationships that have, endured so much, it's okay to voice those opinions and emotions, when someone does something that horrific, it affects you that deeply. If I had a friend that, I did something that, if they came to me, I'd be upset, probably, whatever, but think about it. I deserved that. And I needed to hear that. And in Luciana, she's worked really hard for that. And for her to say, that she's like, you can have this fuel. I'm never giving you another, because, you put me in jeopardy. Now Troy and all the bad guys know everything about me and what we're doing. So, so I just loved that whole thing, just because I felt like it needed to be said. But that quote itself was just outstanding. And I do want to say, so for the people think that I am just beating Madison up, I like how you said that, she's not always your favorite character or whatever, but she is important to the story. And I believe that 100%, because she's the legacy character. She needs, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of nice to have this full circle thing. She was there at the beginning. She's here at the end. So no, and I believe that 100%. She's just not my favorite character, but I like how
it's the decisions that she makes that don't sit right with you. I don't know. It's funny, because when Luciana and Daniel said that to her, I understood them, but I still felt bad for Madison. And because I feel like everybody puts all this blame, but it's circumstances and choices. Luciana didn't have to help, but yet she's blaming her for what happened. But all these other dynamics happen too. I mean, it is Troy's fault. He's the bad guy here trying to do all of this. Like I said, I don't want Charlie to have done what she did at all. I didn't want that to happen at all. But Charlie did it. Charlie didn't have to do that. Charlie could have figured out another way. She was very resourceful. She killed the guy. She could have. Impressive. She knew. Yeah, and she knew that they probably weren't going to kill her because they were using as leverage. She could have ran out somehow. Yeah. Of course, they said, "Oh, the glass on the floor," but come on, Charlie could deal with that. It's bloody feet, and you'll figure it out. So it's kind of a heavy load to lay on other people. But with Daniel and Luciana, it's easy to blame when something happens. But I'm hoping that they will all go back and just let their anger or whatever it is they're feeling, their grief, go, because they need time. Just like Madison needed time to figure out Nick's grief, and then she thought something else. I'm just hoping that will happen with all of them, because that's what I think will happen, and they'll all come back together because they all want to live in a good place. So that's what I'm hoping for the next episodes that we will see. So my favorite, okay, sorry, we got a little off track there, but my favorite moment truly was Madison finding out about her son, because I have always wanted, again, because it's from the beginning, Nick, oh God, it almost makes me a little emotional, but, Nick from the beginning and his mom and, her daughter, Alicia, just those were the core people of what Fear the Walking Dead was about, following them and just finding out what happened to her son. I always wanted that because Alicia ended up forgiving her. Although it's funny because Strand said, oh, Alicia was the first one. I'm like, I don't think so. Because I thought Alicia was a little resistant to Charlie for a little bit.
Yeah,
but then
even when they kind of went off, she was still kind of, like, yeah. So no,
yeah.
I don't think she was the first one. Yeah, I don't think that she.
But I think what he was trying to convey was Alicia's very forgiving and all of that. So, but I did think that in my mind. I'm like, I don't think she was the first one. But her reaction, I've wanting to see this. I wanted to see how Madison would react to that. And Madison reacted like I expected her. And as far as emotion, like being angry and being upset. And when she was over there bashing all those walkers, I felt it. I got teary-eyed because she had to let it out somehow. She just wanted to just let it out. And when Strand came and grabbed her and she was bent over and she had, tears saying this was, I was responsible because I didn't protect my children. That's why they're not here, because I wasn't there for them. And anytime something's emotional, and that was one of the emotional parts for me. And it was sort of coming to full circle because it was people from the beginning. So that was probably my favorite part. Oh my goodness. Okay. So friends out there, let us know what your favorite moment from these episodes were, because we would love to know. There were so many. And again, you can reach us on social media. All the links are in the show notes and also at screensinfocus.com. Please share them with us. I love to hear from you and know those. Okay. So we are heading into our TV and movie recommendations. So Renee, have you watched anything in the last 2 weeks? I'm hoping you have some Halloween movie shows.
We watched a lot of all the old school movies, Halloween 3, and we watched Halloween 3. I don't know if you know much about the Halloween movies, but Halloween 3, Michael Myers is not in it. And so it's always this joke, but it's a great movie. It really is. It's darker than like the regular Michael Myers movies and things. And it's great. So we did watch that, of course. And then we watched Five Nights at Freddy's because my daughter wanted to watch it.
Oh, you did.
I'm not a gamer. I don't know anything about this movie. And I'm like, sure, we'll watch it because, she wanted to watch it. And didn't know really what to expect. I just know I saw like the trailer of this and like it's kind of a Chuck E. Cheese kind of place, but the animatronics are alive, kind of, and everything. So it's just a goofy, scary movie, kind of horror movie thing. But I liked it. I thought they did a good job with it. And I know a lot of people are just like, this is garbage and this and that. But
oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like probably more critics than viewers, because a lot of the gamers are going to view it. They're going to love it because they understand what's going on. They've already done this, now let's see how they do it, and Matthew Lillard is in it. Oh, what's his name? Josh Hutcherson, he's in it, Mary Stuart Masterson is in it, and Theodis Crane, he played Big Tiny, the prisoner in The Walking Dead. So he has a small part in it. Yeah. So yeah, there's our Walking Dead connection with that. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. It's always, fun to see those Walking Dead actor sightings. So anyway, so that was really good. And then I started watching. So I have this odd, my skew of my movie likes or shows and things. I like, horror, zombies and all that, but I also love a good period drama. And so, but I didn't like it I thought I was going to be excited when they put them together in Pride and Prejudice Zombies. I have tried 3 times to watch that and I can't, I don't like it. Don't mix them. So anyway, Gilded Age, the season 2 came out on Sunday. Well, I thought all of season 2 came out. So when I pressed play and it was only the one, I was a little sad. But yeah, so I rewatched the first season because it had been a little while, and plus it's just a fun kind of break. I mean, like if you don't know, the Gilded Age is basically it's just like this time period of just insane materialistic. It's crazy. These people had so much money, the railroads and all these things. And so this series, I've read some negative comments about it, and I'm like, that's what the Gilded Age was. I mean, that's why they called it that. You know what I mean? Like it's everything's coated in gold or whatever, kind of thing. But it's just a fun look at that time period and how, I mean, like you can't believe the material these women use for their dresses. I mean, their dresses would probably have 10 yards of material. I don't know. And it's just a fun, very over excess kind of period of time, but it's a good series. I watched the first couple episodes, when it first came out, and I was like, I don't know if I like it. And then someone else was like, no, I really got into it. I'm like, okay, I'll try again. So I fresh started again, and then I loved it. So I started watching the second season and the first episode of the second season. Yeah, it was very good. So I'm excited to see the rest of it as they come out. Now I got to wait weekly for that.
I know. So I have watched half of the first season, I think, of The Gilded Age, but I saw that the second season came out. So I went back one night and started to pick up where I left off, but I haven't gotten very far. I'm not even sure how many episodes are in a season. Do you know by chance?
I don't remember. But okay. It must have been 9 in season 1. And then I thought I read season 2 might have a few less. Yeah. So I guess just like 8 and 9 episodes for the seasons.
Okay. I'm not really sure. I'm guessing. I think I'm on episode 5 or
about half
somewhere. So but I find it like, I don't find it like it's, oh my God, I have to watch this, but I am still curious to see it. So it's not like I've discarded it or didn't think it was any good. I am interested. So I will probably continue to watch it. It'll be one of those ones that I fit in.
Yeah, when you have time.
Yeah, when I have time. I have so many reality shows that I'm watching because I watch The Voice, Dancing with the Stars, Survivor, all of those. And so I have to keep up on all of those as I'm watching other things. So I have not seen the Five Nights at Freddy. Is that the name? Five Nights at Freddy. Now, I have seen so many trailers. I didn't know about it because I didn't realize it was on a video game. My son came to me this weekend because I said, oh, me and your dad are going to go to the movies. We're going to go watch Killers of the Flower Moon. And he said, why aren't you watching Five Nights? And I said, I don't even know what Five Nights are at. I said, it just doesn't look like something I'm interested in. These monster things, whatever. What did you call them? You called them something. Yeah, animatronics, they just didn't seem scary to me. I'm like, Mom, it's a video game. Everybody wants to see this. I said, oh, it's a video game. No wonder everybody is so, I see it all over the place because I couldn't figure out what the draw was. So I'm glad you liked it. I will probably wait till it comes out on demand for me to watch it, but I can understand the draw now that I know that.
I think it is because we watched it here at home. So
I think it was on Peacock, but I couldn't. I don't have movies unless you subscribe to it.
I guess I never know what our subscriptions are. And one, the thing that's funny that you say about the animatronics, like how they're not scary or whatever. The funniest part is how it's like the way that they make them scary. It's like almost like facial expressions, kind of, but animatronic. It's funny, but it works. It really, like you understand what's happening.
That's funny. All right. So thank you, Renee, for those. So my recommendations, I'm just going to run through these. We are continuing to watch Invasion, which is on Apple TV. We are on season 2. There's only 2 seasons so far. I think they're putting them out right now. It might be actually it had the season finale. So, it's been very intriguing because it is about an alien invasion and how it affects 5 different people around the world. And you get to see each of their lives as they're dealing with it. So it's been very intriguing. My husband is enjoying this too. So we are watching that. Okay. I did tune in to The Golden Bachelor. I'm behind. It's on Hulu. It's about the 72-year-old Jerry Turner, he's been married for a long, long time and his wife passed away. So now he's looking for encouraged by his daughters to go out and experience the dating world. So now he's on The Bachelor And I've only seen a few episodes. It's still it's kind of heartbreaking, right? Because putting these older generation into this kind of social dating experiment, I mean, it can be tough. And then you also hear about these people's lives and how other people have been married for a long time or maybe not found love or have been married and their spouse has passed away or all different things. So I don't know. I haven't watched too many episodes so far, but it's kind of sad in a way, just the lives, but I mean, not in a bad way. I don't mean like it's sad. It's just sad because you've seen these people live these lives and what has happened to them and their experiences. That's what I mean by sad, know? But it is intriguing. And my friend said, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. So I'm like, okay, I'll tune in. So there's that. But like I'd mentioned just a few minutes ago, I did go see Killers of the Flower Moon. So this was one of my most anticipated films to watch because I do love Martin Scorsese and I do love Leonardo DiCaprio. So I'm like, I want to watch this. And so for anybody who doesn't know, it's an American epic Western crime drama, which is directed by Martin Scorsese and co-written from a screenplay that he co-wrote with Eric Roth, and it's starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Lily Gladstone, Robert De Niro, Jesse Plemons, who are all amazing in it. And I didn't know this story, so I went in not knowing, but it is basically a lesson in the bloody history of the Osage murders in the 1920s. And it starts off with DiCaprio. He plays Ernest, a man returning from World War I to work for his uncle, William Hale, who is De Niro. And William tells Ernest about the wealthy Osage people because they made like so much money from oil on their land. But it's all these white men wanting this money from the Osage people, murdering them for the money, marrying them, and then murdering them. Just all this stuff happens. It's out there. It's true. It happened. It's crazy. You're like, what the heck is happening? I'm glad it's brought to the big screen for us to know about because I wasn't aware of it. And I think it's an important story to be told. And I will tell you, it's 3.5 hours long. I didn't feel the 3.5 hours, but the story is a little bit slow. My husband thought it was a little bit slow. I was, again, more forgiving because I knew the work and the acting and the direction that this went into. Man, Robert De Niro, he felt like a mobster guy, but like in this persona of like, he comes off like he's helping the Osage, like he's their best friend and they think he's their best friend, but he is not. He is the one mastermind of all of this, which is so crazy to see him and is an extraordinary actor. Have you seen this?
No,
did you see this at all? Oh, okay.
I just read about it but I like hearing how excited you are about it because I'm one that if it's slow, it is slow. It is slow. Attention. That's the only thing.
So I will say it is slower than I had hoped and anticipated. And I can see how some people might fizzle out on it. So I am going to say that, right? Because even though it was highly anticipated for me, would I go watch it again? I don't know because it is a long movie. But I do appreciate movies where I learn something. And when I know somebody like Martin Scorsese who puts this out there and it means so much to him, I do appreciate those movies. So I'm glad I watched it, but it is slow. And just know that going into
maybe we'll wait till it comes out on streaming and we can do it 2 nights or something.
Yeah, the only thing is that you will miss out on the big screen, which is a really nice way to see it too. So, you know, and also I feel when you're at the movies, you're more in tune to what you're watching because there aren't these little things. I've got to go to the bathroom, people walking by, knocking at your door, phone ringing. Yeah. Exactly. So you're more, and then, you can rewind it or whatever it might be. So when you're at the movie theaters, you're really paying attention and you're seeing the acting that is incredible on this big screen with these actors. So Lily Gladstone is so amazing in it.
What else is she in? Do you know?
I don't know, but now I want to go look her up because she's awesome. She's just really great. And it's her trying to protect her family because one by one, her sisters are being killed off. And it's like, she wants to do something about it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very interesting movie and topic. So on the lighter end, I watched Haunted Mansion, which is on Disney Plus.
I want to see that.
It's a supernatural horror comedy. It's a fun watch. And it is with Lakeith Stanfield. I love him. Tiffany Haddish, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Rosario Dawson, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Jared Leto. I didn't even know Jared Leto was in there. I'm like, what? Jared Leto was in this?
I saw that on
so I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
So it's fun, but I will say I watched it in two pieces. And it unfortunately, it broke it up for me, but in saying that, I wanted to watch the second half. And then I was distracted because I was doing other things. But I think the movie is really a good watch. And I think it's a good movie. It's just that I couldn't stay as focused on it as I wanted because I had a lot of distractions. But I can say that I really thought it was a pretty good movie. And I loved seeing all these actors in it. So check it out. And I love at the very end, and I'm not giving anything away, but at the very end, she says Happy Halloween in the movie. And I thought, oh, this is perfect because I watched the ending yesterday, which was Halloween. So it was great. All right. So thank you, Renee, for our conversation today.
Thank you for inviting me again.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, friends out there, thank you for tuning in and joining us. We are grateful you tuned in, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website at screensinfocus.com and tell a friend because we would love more members of our TV club. You can find our website listed in our show notes along with Renee's information. Make sure you sign up for her newsletter. It's awesome to read everything that she puts out. And I want to remind you to keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. And we will see you next time. Bye.